Okay, good evening members. The recording has started. Welcome to this digital meeting of Council being held via Microsoft Teams on Tuesday the 1st of June 2021. Before we start the proceedings, I would like to welcome Councillor Charlotte Bishop as the newly elected member for the Aber Valley. Congratulations on your appointment and welcome to your first full meeting of Council. Councillor Mann or Councillor Etheridge, would you, or our Aber Valley colleagues, would you like to say anything? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I'd like to welcome Charlotte as our new member for the Aber Valley. It's interesting to note that Charlotte is the first female councillor for the Aber Valley since Caerphilly County Borough came into existence. We have had previous female members on the former Rumney Valley District Council, but I'm very pleased to that Charlotte was returned, particularly she was returned unopposed in this election for the Aber Valley. So welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Etheridge, did I see your hand raised?
Yes, on behalf of the independent group, we would like to welcome Charlotte to Caerphilly Council and wish her all the best in the next 12 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Marsden, please.
Thank you ever so much, Chair. Thank you for that and welcome aboard to your first meeting and congratulations on a great result as well. So welcome aboard, Charlotte.
Thank you, Councillor Marsden. Councillor Mann, please.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Apologies, I've only just got in. My computer decided to update yet again today. It's done it a couple of times already. It's I'd just like to add my congratulations to Charlotte and endorse the comments that I'm sure have been made already. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, members, Mrs. Christina Harry is on leave this week and Mr. Dave Street, Corporate Director for Social Services, will be substituting for her this evening. So, Mr. Street, can I ask you to confirm the proceedings for the meeting, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, members. We will not be live streaming this evening's meeting. However, it will be recorded and made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images, audio of those individuals present and or speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council's website at www.caerphilly.gov.uk. If members lose connection during the live meeting, please make every effort to reconnect. However, the meeting will continue as long as it remains quorate. Democratic Services staff are available and will be able to assist you to reconnect if necessary. I also wish to remind everyone that the Mayor has the discretion to terminate or suspend recording if, in her opinion, continuing to do so would prejudice the proceedings or that continued recording might infringe the rights of any individual. The Mayor also has the right to remove persons from the remote meeting if that is necessary. All members should have already checked their headphones, microphones and IT kit before the meeting commenced. I wish to remind members and officers to ensure that all microphones have been muted. Group leaders, deputy leaders, cabinet members and other key officers have been asked to leave their cameras on. All other members and officers, please turn your cameras off unless making representations. Members will need to unmute their microphones and turn on their cameras when called to speak by the Mayor. Votes this evening will be taken using Microsoft Forms. When a vote is required, the monitoring officer will direct members to open show conversation, where the form will appear, and then click on the yes, no, abstain, and then click on submit vote. The names and votes cast will be recorded and published on our website following the meeting. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Street. Okay, we move on to the agenda proper. Number 1 is apologies for absence. As detailed within the meeting conversation or chat, if members are aware of any apologies not listed, please add them to the chat or notify Democratic Services. Please note the apologies of Mrs. Christina Harry. Item 2, Mayor's announcements. It is with great pleasure that I attended the Welsh final of the Young Enterprise Scheme virtually on Zoom on Wednesday, May the 26th. There were 4 student companies and they all had some really innovative ideas for their businesses. The overall winner was one of Caerphilly's own schools, St Martin's, with New Leaf Sustainability, and they go on to the UK final. So my congratulations go to New Leaf and all the best in the final, and I'm looking forward to meeting you on June the 8th. The event's organised in Bargard as part of Dementia Action Week to launch the accreditation of the Greater Bargard working to become a dementia-friendly community with a success, and I look forward to continue to work with the community to continue its journey. Also, as Dementia Champion, I'm looking forward to expanding this initiative to other areas within the borough as part of the Caerphilly dementia-friendly community. Pupils in Year 4 and 5 of Dosbarth, Mrs O'Leary Jones of Ascol Gymraeg Caerphilly wrote to me this week about their concerns about the impact of climate change and global warming. They've been worried about things like last year's extreme weather, the 2020 fires in Australia, the ice caps melting, and Wally the walrus turning up in Tenby. They wanted to know if we support the Climate and Ecological Emergency Bill 2021, and I was pleased to inform them that we do, and that in 2019 we were the second council in Gwent to declare a climate emergency. If any of the councillors would like to see the pupils' letters and send them a reply too, I would be more than happy to share them with you. So I really hope that Dosbarth Mrs Jones gets to watch the recording and hear me share their concerns. I'd also like to announce the start of my fundraising efforts for my chosen charities, the Alzheimer's Society, the Valley Daffodils and the Friends of Bargard Ward, Ysbyty Ystrad Fawr. My consort Megan and I are going to do a zipline challenge at Zip World Tower near Hirwaun on June the 12th, 2021. And although I won't be wearing my chains, I will be taking a little bit of Caerphilly with me, thanks to my late father-in-law. I don't know if you can see this, but we've been sorting out his house. And we found a scarf with the Caerphilly logo on it. It's been a challenging year for all charities, and I really hope that you can sponsor Megan and I very generously. I've set up a GoFundMe page, and if you contact Joy Thomas or myself, we will send you the link. Thank you. Moving on to item 3 is to receive petitions under the Rule of Procedure 28.3. Councillor Martin James, I understand that you have a petition you'd like to present. Can you please put your camera and microphone on?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I got a petition of over 3,000 signatures from Green Spaces in Ystrad Mynach, and it's about protecting the concern really of loss of green space everywhere, but certainly in Ystrad Mynach. And there is also accompanied by comments, over 700 written comments from people who signed the petition. And thank you very much. And if you could pass that on, please, to the relevant heads of service, that'd be very kind. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor James. Councillor Cethern Etheridge, I understand you also have a petition that you'd like to present. Can you please put your camera on and your microphone? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The petition here is from the whole street of residents at St Tudor's View in Blackwood regarding concerns around the junction of installation of double yellow lines. Now, I just want to say here on this petition, I do appreciate that there are 130 schemes, traffic regulation orders outstanding, and this is one of them. That is in no way reflects on the staff who are working really hard in that section. But with 130 schemes outstanding, could I please ask Mr. Street to take this to the corporate management team and ask for additional resources for the traffic regulation orders department? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Mr. Street, do you want to reply to Councillor Etheridge?
Yes, certainly, Councillor Etheridge. I can have a conversation with you outside the meeting and certainly take anything you want me to the corporate management team.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Item 4, there's no presentations of awards this evening. And number 5 is declarations of interest. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and/or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Members, please use the hands up function if you to indicate if you have any such declarations, please. Councillor Mann, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a question really about the item 11 and 12. It's a huge volume of paper there. I'd be rather surprised if all members have been able to go all the way through it. And I was just wondering how members were covered if it turns out eventually that there is something buried in there that a member may have had to declare an interest on it, but wasn't particularly aware of it at this moment in time.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Mr. Tranter, please.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. Councillor Mann, clearly you should declare an interest when you become aware of that interest. If having a look at the papers, there's nothing in there that you consider that you have an interest on, then that's the decision you've taken, and that's yeah, that's fine. So if during the debate on these two matters any members come across things that they think they may have an interest on and need to take some advice, then I'm here and I will give that advice there and then. I hope that helps. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Tranter. As you say, these things sometimes emerge at a later moment in time, and obviously it wasn't just asking for me; it's for any of us who might be in that situation. Thanks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, and that's to approve and sign the following minutes. Members, we will take the minutes for accuracy, and then I will ask for someone to move and second them as a true account. So this is for council held on the 13th of April 2021 for accuracy. Page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. And page 7. Could I have someone to move the accuracy, please?
I'll move that, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And a seconder, please.
I'll second it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you both. Okay, that's been moved and seconded. I don't think we need a vote on this, do we, Mr. Tranter? Yes, we do. Okay, that's great. Sorry, I'm getting a bit confused. So, Mr. Tranter, I'll hand over to you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, there's a poll in front of you. Can you please vote yes, no, or abstain in accordance with your wishes, and then press the submit button, please. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I've abstained as I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't really vote in favour of something which I wasn't present at.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Cushing.
Okay, Madam Mayor, the minutes are clearly carried. There are 48 for and 3 abstentions, so they're carried for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Okay, item 7 is to receive and to answer questions received under the Rule of Procedure 10.2. Councillor Hussey, can you please put your camera and microphone on and ask your question? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I ask the leader my question, if I could, I'd just like to express my personal gratitude to the NHS staff and the CCCP staff at Newbridge Vaccination Centre for doing such a fantastic job. They certainly deserve a round of applause. My question is, the vaccination programme has been a great success, and how has CCBC contributed to this effort? Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hussey. Leader, can we have your response, please?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Hussey. The Council is proud to have played a key role in supporting Aneurin Bevan University Health Board with the delivery of the mass vaccination programme. Perhaps our greatest contribution has been the provision of venues for vaccination centres. Soon Note Leisure Centre has been used by local GP surgery for vaccinations, and T Penalta was set up for mass vaccinations towards the end of last year. As operations scaled up, T Penalta was replaced by a mass vaccination centre opening at Newbridge Leisure Centre at the end of January. The vaccination centre at Newbridge Leisure Centre currently operates 6 days a week and can comfortably provide 1,000 vaccinations a day, and on occasions this has been considerably more. The Council currently has 30 staff from our Sport and Leisure Service supporting the operation of the vaccination centre. Our staff have become fully integrated with the Health Board team and act as traffic marshals, help take patients' details, usher patients around the building and generally help to troubleshoot any issues that arise on site. We have received endless feedback from Health Board colleagues and those attending the centre alike regarding the positive and flexible attitude of our staff. When the Newbridge Mass Vaccination Centre opened, the Council's Integrated Transport Unit issued additional information. Can someone unmute themselves? Sorry. I'll start again. When the Newbridge Mass Vaccination Centre opened, the Council's Integrated Transport Unit issued additional information to promote public transport routes and also worked with Stagecoach to secure additional services. Our highways team puts additional signage in place and also made arrangements to facilitate additional car parking at Newbridge Station and Park and Ride. The Caerphilly Cares team are assisting people who have been unable to make their own travel arrangements to vaccination centres. The Council has provided advice and signpost members of the public if they have contacted us, and our communications team have undertaken a significant amount of work since the introduction of the vaccination programme to raise awareness and encourage take-up within the community. Key messages about the vaccination rollout have been promoted via a range of channels, including the Council's website, the intranet, social media channels and internal communication and updates to councillors, as you will be aware. They've also shared key updates from partners including Welsh Government, Public Health Wales and the Health Board on a regular basis as part of a Wales-wide coordinated communication campaign to promote the vaccination programme across the county. We are also extremely grateful to Newbridge Comprehensive School for their commitment and patience in supporting the operation of the vaccination centre. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. Councillor Hussey, do you have a supplementary, please?
No, Madam Mayor, just like I said at the beginning, my gratitude to all the staff that works at Newbridge Leisure Centre. It was a pleasure to go there. Very professional, very efficient. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hussey. I'd like to add my gratitude to those, my colleagues in the NHS and all staff from CCBC. Thank you. Moving on to item 8 is to receive and answer questions received under the Role of Procedure 10.4. Councillor Etheridge, can you please put your camera and microphone on and ask your question? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. My question is about the Community Renewal Fund, which central government has earmarked for local authorities. And as the leader in the cabinet and my councillors are aware, Caerphilly Council has been told no. So my concern here is, have we the effect it will have on the council and the ratepayer in regard the transformation agenda? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Stenner, as Cabinet Member for Customer Performance and Property Services, can we please have your response? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It is with great disappointment that the decision by central government was not to earmark any money from the Community Renewal Fund to this authority. And I find it shocking that Caerphilly has not been included in the 100 priority places able to access this money. However, it doesn't impact the place shaping investment and transformation programmes, as this is only one source of funding available to us, and there are many other UK, Welsh Government and local funds that we can access for the programme. The programmes are not wholly reliant upon one source of funding. The question on how it will impact additional resources and ratepayers of the borough will bear out once the significant political lobbying taking place around this whole funding stream has been concluded. We will continue to challenge the UK government's prioritisation methodology used to determine the Community Renewal Fund priority 100 places to enable us to influence the forthcoming UK Shared Prosperity Fund indicators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stenner. As there are no supplementary questions to Cabinet members, we will move on to the next item on the agenda. Item 9, Notice of Motion, questions to the Leader of Council. Councillor Etheridge, you've already got your camera on and microphone, so can you present your motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I present this motion sadly, really, because I believed that there was no need to take up full council's time with this motion. I did ask a question to the leader under the relevant section of the Constitution, and I was told that the question, which was on general recycling, should be put to the Cabinet member. I then quoted the motion, but I was then told by the Chief Executive on the 15th of February that as it referred to the portfolio of the Cabinet member, it must go to the Cabinet member. So I then wrote back saying, I would like to ask a supplementary. I was told Cabinet members don't ask, you can't ask supplementary questions. Now, my concern here, Madam Chair, is for democracy within Caerphilly Council. We have a constitution which I believe should be adhered to. And I note tonight Councillor Hezzy's question, which to the leader, no problem with that, but surely that should have been asked to the Cabinet member for Social Services, Health and Wellbeing, because that was about the vaccination centre. So that concerns me. Finally, I would like Mr. Tranter's view on this, because on the 15th of February, he wrote to me under Rule 10 saying, while Rule 10 of the Council procedural rules does not specifically state that the question should go to the relevant Cabinet member, I think that it can be inferred. Now, inferred is not in the Constitution. In order to move progress on this, Madam Mayor, I would like, as was discussed at the Policy and Resources, that a motion is moved, and I'd like to move it myself, that a Cabinet member answers a supplementary question if a question is tabled from an elected member. But I've still got concerns with how the Constitution was interpreted. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Members, due to the publication deadlines, the views of scrutiny will be given verbally. Therefore, could I now ask Councillor Jamie Pritchard as Chair, could you please put your camera and microphone on and present the views of the Policy and Resource Scrutiny Committee and any recommendations made by that committee for Council's consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. After consideration of Councillor Etheridge's notice of motion by members of the Policy and Resources Scrutiny Committee last Tuesday, the 25th of May, it was moved that it be recommended to Council that the Constitution be amended in relation to Rule 10.4. The amendment to the notice of motion to allow a supplementary question to the Cabinet member last Tuesday was accepted by Councillor Etheridge and was supported by a majority of members, in noting that they were 2 against and no abstentions. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchard. Okay. Councillor Etheridge has moved the Councillor Etheridge has moved the motion. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to second.
Thank you. So the it's now been moved and seconded. The debate is in order. If you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button. When I call you, please turn your camera and microphone on and lower your hands again by clicking on the hands up button when you finish making your representations. Okay, so Councillor Taylor first, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As the person in the Policy and Resources Committee who moved that recommendation, I would support it, because if a relevant supplementary question is relevant to the original question or the answer that the cabinet member has given can be allowed, then that would get us out of this impasse of the interpretation and inferring in the Constitution, and I see there's no reason why a cabinet member who obviously would have vast knowledge of their portfolio wouldn't be able to handle a supplementary question in the same way that the leader can handle a supplementary question. So I would support that we amend the Constitution to allow a supplementary question in questions to cabinet members. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Sean Morgan, please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The notice of motion before me in the paperwork presented to Council asks Council to ensure in the future elected members are allowed to table questions to the leader and ask a supplementary question without recourse to the cabinet member as defined in the above rule. So I'm a bit confused now, because somebody is saying that there's an amendment, but nobody has moved an amendment to the motion that is before us in the paperwork this evening. I wonder if Mr. Tranter could perhaps enlighten us.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Mr. Tranter, please.
Well, if there's a proposal to amend the motion, someone needs to propose it and it needs to be seconded, and then that amendment needs to be debated and finally voted on. So that's how it goes. As things currently stand, the motion before you is the motion that is on the paper. On the papers, that's the motion of Councillor Etheridge.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Councillor Etheridge, you did have your hand raised. Did you want to come back in?
Yes, I thought I had moved the amendment. I apologise if I haven't, but I would like to move the amendment as per Councillor Taylor at the Policy and Resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Morgan, did you have your hand up?
I did, Madam Mayor. So somebody needs. I'm a bit confused now. I was quite prepared to vote in favour of the motion as presented by Councillor Kevin Etheridge, the one which has been tabled and is within our paperwork. So if somebody could explain the amendment, and then if that amendment is then seconded, perhaps we can debate that amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Mann, are you going to explain the amendment, or would that be somebody else?
Well, I'll try my best, Mayor.
Thank you.
What I remember the majority of members in Policy and Resources supporting was that supplementary questions can be asked to each and every cabinet member as well as the leader of council. I believe that other people in that debate would have the same recollection. But that is my understanding of the amendment, to put in very simple terms, that we change the Constitution so that it is possible for a member to ask a cabinet member a supplementary question on on the questions asked in council. I hope that helps.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Okay, could I have a seconder for that, please?
Yeah, seconded.
Thank you very much. Councillor Mann, you've still got your hand up. Did you want to say anything else?
No, apologies, Mayor. I was slow to take it down.
That's okay. That's no problem. Councillor Taylor, then, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I would speak in support of that amendment because I think it gets us out of this impasse that we'd managed to get ourselves into over the interpretation of the Constitution, and it puts questions to the Cabinet member on a similar footing to questions to the leader, so that a member can ask a supplementary that is related to the original question or the reply from the Cabinet member. And I think that all the Cabinet members should be sufficiently on top of their portfolios so that they would be able to answer a supplementary in the same way that the leader can answer a supplementary. And it's as simple as that. And I think that would be a good way forward.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. There are no other hands raised at... Oh, Councillor Morgan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to speak against that. Our council meetings, and I think Councillor Taylor's quite right, the Cabinet members, we've got a very professional Cabinet team, and I think that they would have no problem in answering any supplementary questions regarding their portfolios. My concern is just how long a council meeting could be elongated by the fact by these questions, because on my count, I believe as many and perhaps Mr. Tranter could put me right on this, but I believe up to 12 questions could then be asked at each council meeting, and that's a considerable amount of council time could be taken up with answering those questions, especially as all members are fully aware that all Cabinet members are available to answer questions at any time, and should they wish those questions to be answered, I often receive emails and it's copied to all councillors, and I will reply to all councillors. So I think that this is just added complexity to a council meeting. I was quite prepared, and I am quite prepared to support Councillor Etheridge's original notice of motion, but I certainly will not be voting for this amendment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Mr. Tranter, Councillor Morgan was looking for clarification that there might be a maximum of 12 questions asked during a council meeting if this amendment is successful.
Yeah, that's how I read it. Yeah, each group could ask a question of the leader and a supplementary, and then if supplementary questions were allowed, each group could ask a supplementary question to a Cabinet member and a supplementary, so that would be a maximum of 12 per council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question of wondering what actually happened earlier. Did Councillor Etheridge second the amendment? I thought it was his voice I heard.
I'm not sure.
Is that correct? What was it? Was it yourself, Kevin?
Yes, it was.
So you moved the original and seconded the amendment. Does that mean you're withdrawing your support from the original?
No,
I
would like. Perhaps we can ask Mr. Tranter, as obviously this debate is does concern me. If I can't second the amendment, I'm sure Councillor Taylor will. Mr. Tranter, would you like to give your views?
Taylor move the amendment.
Okay, thank you,
Councillor
Councillor.
Mann moved
Thank
the
you,
amendment.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you both. Mr. Tranter, please, could you clarify? Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's okay for Councillor Etheridge to second Councillor, I think it's Councillor Mann's amendment actually. So I think that's perfectly acceptable. And if there are no other comments on this amendment, we can then go to vote on that amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Martin James, please. Councillor James, can you hear us?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I couldn't unmute myself. I do apologise. I think it's very important that we are allowed to debate and ask questions. I think, you know, I can't agree with what Councillor Morgan said, that, you know, it'll last a bit longer. Surely we are held to account for all the decisions we make within this chamber to the people of Caerphilly. They rely on us, and I believe what should happen, we should have the questions answered by relevant people and even supplementaries to make it open and transparent, and to make sure that we scrutinise, which is why, you know, why we come to these meetings. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor James. Councillor Mann, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councillor Morgan is quite correct. We could end up with 12 questions. On the other hand, if you look at the track record of questions in full council meetings, I think it's been a maximum of 1 or 2, and maybe at times there haven't been any. And I think it was a flaw in the Constitution originally that that cabinet members were not asked to answer a supplementary question. I think everyone agrees that cabinet members are capable of doing so. And quite honestly, if we're asked to spend a few more minutes in these meetings in the interest of democracy, I'd be rather surprised if anyone wasn't prepared to do that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Councillor Priest, please.
Thank you. Last time on you, I assume short.
Councillor Priest, can I ask you to maybe turn off your camera because you're breaking up?
My camera was
I'm really sorry, Councillor Priest, but we're having trouble hearing you properly. Your connection is breaking up. Okay, I think we've lost Councillor Priest. He seems to have frozen. Councillor Morgan, you've got your hands raised, but under normal procedure, you've spoken once on the debate. I am a little bit reluctant to bring you back in unless you've got something new to add.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to, if I could, I wanted to first of all agree with Councillor Martin James that we are here in the council in order to scrutinise and make decisions on behalf of the residents of the borough. The extra questions, as I say, could be as many as 12, do nothing to increase the or improve the decision-making process. And indeed, those questions can't then be debated on, because if that was the case, if we was to start debating on 12 separate questions, then we certainly would turn into a talking shop and not be a decision-making body. I would suggest that the reasons that I'm saying that this is going to increase the time, it would take away time from the scrutinising of the serious decisions we do have to make. And therefore, as I say, I'll be voting against this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. I've got no other hands raised, so I'm going to pass us straight over to Mr. Tranter for the vote. Thank you.
There we are. I'll just put my my headphones on here. Members, so you are now voting on the amendment to the notice of motion, and the amendment, as I understand it, is that supplementary questions will now be able to be asked of the Cabinet members. So that's the amendment that you're voting on. There should be a poll coming in front of you any minute now. And there it is, as if by magic. So I'll give you 90 seconds, please, to cast your vote, and then I will give the Mayor the result. Thank you.
Obviously, right, thank you.
Are any members having difficulty casting their vote? If so, could you now speak?
Yes, this is Councillor Anne Gare. I'm having difficulty.
How would you like to vote, Councillor Gare?
Against, please.
Against. Any other members, please?
I'm not sure if Councillor Priest was having difficulty. He was trying to say something, but the connection was poor.
No, actually, thank you, Madam Mayor, but you've gone on from my original question I was going to ask. And when there's voted for is what I withdraw from it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Councillor Priest, I didn't catch any of that, I'm afraid. So if there are no other members who wish to vote, the results of the vote are, and this is on the amendment, 17 for and 36 against. So the amendment is lost. So we are now back to Councillor Etheridge's original notice of motion on the papers in front of you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Now, I believe, Councillor Etheridge, you moved this originally when you first spoke?
Yes, I think it's on the order paper. I don't know if you would like me to read it out, Madam Mayor, or are you happy just for me to move it?
I'm happy for you to move it. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to move formally then that motion. Thank you.
Thank you. And was it Councillor Taylor who seconded it at the beginning?
No, we have not a seconder yet.
Oh, no, sorry. So who would like to second it, please? Councillor Taylor.
Sorry, Graham Simmons. I seconded on the first time round.
Okay.
Right, I do apologise. I do apologise. Thank you, Councillor Simmons. Okay, so do we have any comments or questions now that it's been moved and seconded, please? No? Okay, I will hand us straight over to Mr. Tranter for the vote then. Thank you.
Thank you, members. So once again, we are back to the original notice of motion, which is on the papers in front of you. Shortly, a poll will come up in front of you, and if you would please cast your vote and then press the submit button. If anybody has any issues, then please raise your voice and I will make a note of your vote. Thank you, members.
Robert.
Yes, who's speaking, please?
Carl Thomas.
Councillor Thomas. Yes, Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, I'm struggling. The poll's not coming up, and I've been struggling with this IT all evening. But I'd like to vote for.
4. Thank you very much. Any other members?
Please. Thank you.
Anyone else having any difficulties? No, that's a fantastic result in that there are no problems, no technical problems apart from Councillor Thomas. So the result, Madam Mayor, of the vote on Councillor Etheridge's notice of motion is 54-4. That's including Councillor Thomas's oral vote, none against and no abstentions. Therefore, the notice of motion is carried. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. We'll move on to item 10. Notice of motion, potential booking system for recycling sites. Councillor Etheridge, I can see you've got your camera on, so if you could just put your microphone on and present your notice of motion, please.
Okay, the notice of motion, Madam Mayor, is that the report, when ready, on the recycling actually comes to full council. Now, I appreciate that the motion is a cabinet function. Okay, so my motion, because of the importance of the recycling, and the reason for the importance of is, on the 29th of January, I had a letter from the Minister's office which referred to 2019-20, where we in Caerphilly were 1,391 tonnes short of the recovery target. As a result, there was discussion between the Minister, the leader, and the Chief Executive. That's what it says in the actual letter. And then it mentions in regard the process going forward, and it also refers to, their concern that there's a possible breach, and they are evidence gathering, and will the Minister decide whether to impose or waive the associated fine? Now, I believe something like this, Madam Chair, the recycling problem within the county borough, because we're all in favour of recycling and the booking system, that is so important that when the director, Mark S. Williams, writes the report, it goes to scrutiny. It obviously will go to cabinet, but it then comes to full council for every member to have a discussion and a vote on this. So I move that motion. Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself then, and I was talking. Is there? So I apologise. Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Is there a second for the motion, please?
I'll second now, Madam Mayor.
Was that Councillor James?
Yes.
Thank you. I believe Councillor Marsden would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. As you will all be aware, as council, we operate a cabinet system, and this is the decision, and this decision is clearly within the remit of cabinet as set out in our constitution. The role of scrutiny in advance of such decisions is a key requisite, and you will wholly support Scrutiny Committee considering such an important matter in advance of any decision being taken by the Cabinet. So I need to emphasise that it will go through the normal scrutiny process where every member who is part of a Scrutiny Committee will be able to offer up any views in any matter that will be taken forward by the Cabinet. So it's important to understand, isn't it, that we're looking at waste more broadly, and there is a waste strategy being worked up as we speak. Looking at our current recycling performance and then therefore taking it up to the next level, because we know by 2024 we'll have to achieve a recycling target of 70%. So it's really important to note that these all-important strategies will be coming through the normal scrutiny process, and therefore members will have a a right to comment on those and look at those reports and to scrutinise, which is the role of the scrutiny committee. So I think it's important that I kind of think that this notice of motion is a bit premature because these strategies and some of these things have not even come through the scrutiny process yet. So this is absolutely, again, it's ahead of its time in terms of needing a notice of motion. But I want to, reassure members that, as part of scrutiny, you will see any reports that are considered for Cabinet. But it is a Cabinet function to make the decision, and that is our constitution. So I just wanted to, allay any fears that any change, however marked, however different, will still go through the scrutiny committee for you to cast an eye over it and, and to look at any proposals. I just need to reiterate that. As I said, this notice of motion is very premature. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Marsden. Members, the recommendation from scrutiny has been incorporated into the consultation section of the report for your consideration. Councillor Tudor Davis, as Chair of the Environment and Sustainability Scrutiny Committee, do you have any comment before we move into the debate, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a procedural notice of motion as far as I was concerned. And I had no argument, I don't think a member's argument, with the objective of having the report. What we didn't accept was that it was going to be submitted to the council and not to the scrutiny committee in the first instance. And you notice under 10.2, this is clearly clarified of the decision unanimously by the committee that this should be considered, which the leader has just now confirmed as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to the notice of motion, I think there was only one against and one abstention. But as far as I'm concerned, that notice of motion would automatically come to the council anyway. So the point, as far as I'm concerned, I hope the members will concede this must come back to my scrutiny committee for the members there to consider it. And any other member could request to speak at that meeting. And the other point, Madam Mayor, the office has already started the programme of look for a report. They've already got a consultation well before this notice of motion came in. So that was already taken up by the officers. And when that report comes out, as far as I'm concerned, then is the time for everyone to look at that and scrutinise it.
Thank you, Councillor Davis. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is in order. Members, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button. Again, please turn your camera and microphone on when called and lower your hand by clicking again on the hands up button when you finish making your representations. Councillor Morgan, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fail to see, I certainly understand Councillor Etheridge's seeing that the recycling targets are very important, but many reports come through Cabinet of equal or more significance. So I fail to understand why this one report in particular, and I'll be voting against this notice of motion because I believe that the scrutiny committee, the work done by scrutiny committees already does the job of scrutinising, and Councillor Etheridge is well versed and knows that he's well able to ask the chair of the scrutiny committee if he could speak to the scrutiny committee. He can well ask the chair of the cabinet meetings, the leader, if he could speak to cabinet on these reports, and he has done so in the past. So I fail to understand why he thinks this one thing is it's almost like changing the constitution by the back door. So I'll be voting against this. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Morgan. Councillor Mann, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I saw this as a way of flagging up the importance. We have many important things, as has been said, but recycling does really affect every person in the borough, whether it's education, social services, or lots of other things. They affect a minority. This actually affects everyone in the borough, and it is potentially very costly if the authority doesn't get it right. I'm not arguing against this going to scrutiny committee. but going to council as well was just a way of giving every member a proper chance of commenting on this, should some, let's say, some significant revisions be proposed to the system that we've already got. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Councillor George, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just heard Councillor Etheridge in the previous notice of motion expressing his concerns about democracy. Now he's expressing how important this is. It should go straight to council. But I'm going to ask him the same question as I asked him in scrutiny. As a leader of his community, where does he stand on the booking system? How is he going to advise his residents? Is he in favour of a booking system or against? Can you ask him that, please? Just to clarify the point.
Thank you, Councillor George. Councillor Etheridge, would you like to reply?
Yeah, I will respond to Councillor George. I will make a decision when I've read and seen the report. I think you need to see the evidence before you make a decision. And you can shake your head, Nigel, but, you know, until I receive the report and the evidence, you know, I'm having calls from the residents in Blackwood saying, you know, the booking system in some areas, we got to wait 20 minutes, we got to wait half an hour. I said, well, you know, let's see the report first. And I felt that this was an opportunity for it to go to scrutiny and then go to full council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. Councillor Priest, please. I'm afraid, Councillor Priest, we can't hear you at the moment.
I'm sorry about that, Madam Mayor, because I seem to have a lot of problems with this computer. As a matter of fact, we got to the stage now, and let's throw it to the wind. If anybody can hear me now,
we can hear you, Councillor Priest.
Completely and utterly right. Disregard everything that goes to scrutiny, and they won't be able to recommend nothing. Some council, two council want to come back and ask 12 questions on each thing that they've got. That's all I want to know.
Thank you, Councillor Priest.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Davis, please.
Well, I'd just like to clarify from Councillor Etheridge what he actually said in his notice of motion. The matter brought to full council for discussion, debate and vote. He never mentioned about scrutiny committee. He was bypassing it. That's all I'd like to say. So perhaps he can correct what his notice of motion is, because I think he's very confused.
Councillor Etheridge, would you like to reply?
I'm always happy to respond to Councillor Davis. I think the notice of motion was written before the Regeneration Scrutiny Committee, and there was a big discussion at the Regeneration Committee, which I spoke to, and it was unclear there whether the matter would go to scrutiny or would go direct to Cabinet. And, you know, the report, the notice of motion is for full council, and I move the notice of motion, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Etheridge. I've got no other hands raised. I'll give you 20 more seconds. And if no one else wants to speak, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Tranter for the vote. Thank you.
Many thanks, Madam Mayor. Members, you will have on your screens very shortly a notice of a poll allowing you to vote on the notice of motion. There it is now before you. If you could vote, please. If any members are having any difficulties, please let me know and I will record the vote. Many thanks, members. If there are no members having difficulties, Madam Mayor, 52.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Tranter. Councillor George has got his hand raised. I'm not sure if he's got a problem or not.
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. If I may, Madam Mayor, we've had 53 votes, 15 for, 36 against, 2 abstentions. So therefore, the notice of motion is lost. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Tranter. Councillor Davis, you've just raised your hand. Can I help before I move on to the next item?
No, it's my fault. I unturned it off, madam.
No problem. Thank you.
You're on mute, Carol.
Sorry, I'll start again. Thank you for that. That's going to be the phrase of the last year, isn't it? You're on mute. Okay, so item 11 is the adopted Caerphilly County Borough Local Development Plan up to 2021, the review report. Councillor Andrew Whitcomb, I understand that you will introduce this report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I introduce the report and then move the report, may I bring to members' attention that on page 20 and 21, in item 5.4, there's an error within the report. There's something being included in error. So if you look at 5.4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. Paragraph 5, all draft DA information has been included within the report in error, and I ask members to respectfully ignore that particular part of the report. This report seeks the Council's approval of the final review report and its agreement to forward the review report to Welsh Government. Once the Council agreed to commence a review of the adopted LDP, the LDP regulations require that the Council prepare a review report that considers how the plan strategy, aims and objectives are being delivered, any significant changes in circumstances brought appropriate changes to the evidence base or contextual framework, how the policy, framework and allocations in the plan are being delivered, 6-month annual report, AMRs, and whether a revision of the plan is necessary and what options for revision should be taken. The draft review report was subject to a 3-week consultation, which commenced on 24th of February 2020 and concluded on the 16th of March. 16 submissions were received during that consultation. These representations are addressed in the review report and the report of consultation, which also sets out changes to the review report as a result of the comments. The review report was also the subject of significant updating due to changing circumstances since the consultation took place. The review report is required to be submitted to Welsh Government, although there is no requirement for Welsh Government approval. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I therefore move the report to Council.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcomb. Councillor Royce Morales, I understand that you were second.
Yes, can I second that, Madam Mayor? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Morales. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is now in order. Members, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button. Please turn your camera and microphone on when called and lower your hand by clicking again on the hands up button when you are finished making your representations. Thank you, members. I have no hands showing, so I will hand over to Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote. Thank you.
Many thanks, Madam Mayor. Again, members, a vote will come in front of you on your screen any moment. When that comes up, could you please cast your vote, press the submit vote, and your vote will be recorded. Thank you very much, members. Once again, if members have any difficulties voting, please let me know and I will record your vote. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Tranter. I can't vote.
And who is that, please?
Councillor Philippa Leonard.
Thank you. And how would you like to vote, Councillor Leonard?
I'm for. Thank
For.
you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Are there any other members having difficulties, please? Okay, members. The report has been carried, Madam Mayor. We had 51 votes, including Councillor Leonard, 47 for, none against, and 4 abstentions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chanter. Moving on to item 12, which is the second replacement Caerphilly County Borough Local Development Plan up to 2035 delivery agreement. Councillor Andrew Whitcomb, I understand that you will introduce this report. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This report seeks council approval of the final delivery agreement, an agreement to forward the delivery agreement to Welsh Government in accordance with the LDP regulations. The first stage in the preparation of a local development plan is to prepare a delivery agreement that sets out the timetable for the delivery of the plan and the community involvement scheme, which sets out who will be consulted and when. The first draft delivery agreement was prepared and was due to be the subject of consultation in March 2020. Unfortunately, due to COVID restrictions, this consultation was cancelled. The draft delivery was updated and subsequently published for consultation on the 25th of January 2021 for a 9-week period closing on 29th of March 2021. A total of 23 responses were received as a result of the consultation, and these have been addressed for consultation, which also identifies the changes that have been made to the final delivery agreement as a result of the comments made. Welsh Government have 4 weeks to consider the delivery agreement, and the date that Welsh Government agreed the delivery agreement is the date the formal 3.5 years period plan for the preparation commences. I therefore, Madam Mayor, wish to move this report.
Thank you, Councillor Whitcomb. Councillor Roy Solaris, I understand that you will second.
Yeah, once again, Madam Mayor, I'd like to second that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Solaris. Having been moved and seconded, the debate is in order. Members, if you have any comments, please indicate now using the hands up button. Please turn your camera and microphone on when called and lower your hand by clicking again on the hands up button when you have finished making your representations. Thank you, members. Councillor Mann, please. Councillor Mann, I think you're on mute.
Apologies, done it again. It says page 179 on the top and 175 at the bottom, but a little bit worrying. There's a comment there about a lack of support from officers, stroke other departments in production of the evidence base, and it says there's a high likelihood. Now, some of us have been going on for quite a long time about silo working and lack of cooperation between various officers and various departments, and it's really, if this is the case, it's really disappointing to actually read that, and maybe someone who's in the thick of it could make a comment on it. Thank you.
Okay, and he's got his hand up. I was just having advice on who to call, and that's Mr. David Lucas. He's got his hand up. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the question, Councillor Mann. That comment actually reflects the position as it would be, because all our other service areas have their own respective service areas of work they need to deliver, and the LDP imposes quite a considerable onus upon certain other service areas in actually getting the information that we need. What has happened is we have proactively, as part of this process, when we originally agreed to do the review, there was an element in there regarding about the budget that we needed to do that, and we did actually identify an element of funding for our particularly hard-hit service areas that we need their input from, and giving them a budget element that they can actually use to facilitate that. So that's what that comment is related to. Hopefully, the position that we're in will see that they have the resources now to complete our needs.
Thank you, Dave. Could I just come back for a moment, Mayor?
Yes.
Assuming this comment was based on previous experience, are you saying that you're hoping things are going to improve?
No.
There's a starter for 10.
No, words in my mouth. No, no. What has happened previously? It has taken some of our service area some time to get information back to us, which is understandable. I mean, if we look at the candidate site process, we had 300 sites to assess. And highways are involved in that, housing are involved in that, countryside are involved in that, and they have to look at all of these and provide comments back on those over and above the work that they do every day. So we acknowledge there was an issue there, and hopefully we've given them they're in a better place now than they were previously to assist. Let's put it that way.
Thanks again, Dave. I'll see you on the lecture circuit. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you both. Councillor Adams, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just like to comment that I did take part in one of Dave Lucas's many presentations that all the councillors are going to be receiving long before we're in a position to be voting on an LDP. And so thank you very much, Dave. I look forward to the same kind of interest that the members who also attended on Friday morning were giving, and it was quite entertaining at times. So I look forward to the next few. Thanks, Dave.
Some of us attend on other days, Mayor.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? I see no further hands, so I'm going to hand over to Mr. Tranter to take us to the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members, you will be voting on the recommendations within the report. The poll will be up before you any moment. When it is, can you cast your vote, please? Thank you very much. Again, anyone with difficulties, please raise your voice and I will make a note of how you wish to vote. Thank you, members. Okay, members, if there's no one having any difficulty voting, Madam Mayor, the votes have been cast. We had 49 votes, 46 for, no votes against, and 3 abstentions. In fact, there's a 50th vote has just come in, so that's 47 for, 3 abstentions. The recommendations within the report are carried. Many thanks, Madam Mayor. Thank you, members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tranter. We've now reached the conclusion of the meeting, and I would like to thank everyone for attending this evening's meeting of council. I declare this meeting closed and you may hang up. Good evening.
Thanks, Mayor. Cheers all.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.